Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Conversation Learning Foundation's live Q&A series. My name is Marlon, and it is my pleasure to be here on this beautiful Saturday afternoon. It is finally sunny in Vancouver. This is our 6th out of 8 live sessions, and today I'll be joined by the founder of the Conversation Learning Foundation, Missy Jena. Jena Sharma, or Missy Jena as she's often known as, is an education visionary who specializes in leadership and learning. She champions innovation, compassionate and inspired connections in work and learning places, and students who quietly, and not so quietly, struggle to make sense of how they fit into the mix of school, life, and learning. Jena founded Conversation because she's passionate about ensuring that children have the opportunity to engage with their learning. Her life's mission is to leverage the power of meaningful connection and communication in schools and beyond, so that children can show up with their whole selves, engage meaningfully with their learning process, and grow into confident and empowered leaders. Today's session is all about unique and fun approaches to problem solving with your kids. Now, please welcome Missy Jena.
Hi, Marlon.
Hi, Jena. Happy Saturday. How are you?
I was listening to your introduction and thinking it was raining all week long, but this is the 3rd Saturday in a row. It's been spectacularly sunny. Our lives tend to bring the sunshine, which is wonderful.
Exactly. I know, it's amazing. And you're so right. It's been crappy weather all week, rainy, cold, and today I walked outside and it was beautiful. So I was very happy to see that.
Yeah, you know what? Secret fun fact, I love the rain.
What do you like about the rain? What is it?
I love it. I love the sound of the rain. I love how it looks. I love the coziness of being inside when it's raining outside. I just love it. It's the ocean visiting.
Are you a fan of the snow?
Yes.
Yes.
Huge. Snow is my favorite. Snow, fog, rain. And that's another chapter of my life. Those are the weather pattern systems that I love to photograph in.
So today we're talking about unique and fun approaches to problem solving. Mm-hmm. And to kick this episode off, I thought it'd be fun to start off with a little riddle.
Oh, great.
Are you ready, Jena?
I am.
What belongs to you, but other people use it more than you?
Okay. What belongs to you, but other people use it more than you do? Marlon, I know the answer to this one.
What belongs to you, but other people use it more than you?
Do you know the answer to this?
I don't actually. You know what? I've never been a riddler.
Okay.
Riddles stump me. They stump me and they frustrate me. But what belongs to you, but other people use it more than you?
I think riddles are such a fun way words are put together to sort of trick the mind, and it makes your attention go one direction and then it stumps you, like you said. They can be a lot of fun to figure out. Now, I do know the answer to this riddle. This riddle is, in fact, inside the family care kit. So once you hear the answer, you will go, oh.
Duh.
Your name. Take a moment.
I'm taking a moment. That makes sense. What belongs to you, but other people use it more than you? Your name.
Yeah, there it is.
There you go. Amazing. Well, thanks for that, Jena. That was a great icebreaker for this Saturday. Let's get into some questions from the audience.
Okay, let's do that. So today's theme is around problem solving. Yes, there it is.
Totally. So working and schooling from home has been challenging for our family. We've lost our patience and argue often. How can we change this?
Okay, can we just go back to the previous text? So today we're going to talk about unique and fun approaches to problem solving with your kids. And with that will come a range of questions that you've got there, Marlon, for us to explore. So unique, fun approaches is the tone. Let's go.
Perfect. So working and schooling from home is challenging for our family. We've lost our patience and argue often. How can we change this?
Yeah, working and schooling from home is challenging for our family. We've lost our patience and argue often. How can we change this? So Here in British Columbia, we're back in a very solid second wave of the pandemic, COVID, and lots of new safety precautions measures are in place, and children, families are back at home. Let me ask you a question, Marlon.
Please.
Why do people argue? And there's no right answer, okay? There's no wrong answer. Why do people argue?
I think argument stems from a lack of understanding and frustration.
Yeah. People argue because they feel frustrated. They may not feel understood. And when there's that frustration and lack of feeling understood, and it's like sort of mounds on top of each other, then you do lose your patience. There's less resilience, and humor can go out the window. It is so normal and natural for families to have challenges and to argue and to have to try and find ways to get their perspective across. And I'd say parents, it's harder for children to be able to communicate what they need, what they want. They just simply don't have the life experience. They don't have the skills and the tools to be able to say in a respectfully considerate way, I disagree with you, Mom, right now. You know, what happens so often is that there's so much frustration that it can just explode. Mm-hmm. And I'm largely talking even from my own experience as a kid and how I engage with my own family now versus, you know, when I was a child and what I've witnessed in other people's families. So working and schooling from home is a challenge, no doubt about it. And you will lose your patience and you will argue often. What I'd invite is for those moments where you're not in an argument or there is some quiet time to brainstorm together, to talk about, you know, what can we do to make sure that our perspectives come across before we get into that argument.
Right. And it also, I think a good point that you brought up is, as adults, I think there's also some times where we can overreact and not take that second to think about how we're going to communicate our feelings.
Oh, yeah. And Marlon, I'm going to say, even at conversation, like here at conversation, things are not always calm. Things are not always cool and collected. And we do have to find respectful ways to get our different points of view across and work with each other and recognize that, okay, maybe now is not the best time to try and figure out this situation. We'll take a pause and we'll come back and revisit it, you know, like arguments, patience, challenge, like that impacts all human beings, all across the board. And we have different coping strategies. We have different ways to approach it. And if you're so fortunate to have been to have humor at your to have humor available to you, I think humor is one of the best icebreakers when it comes to these heated, intense moments. And I was fortunate to grow up in a family that Dad had a great sense of humor. And not to say that he was always humorous, you know, he did also have his moments where he was, you know, lost his patience. But for the most part, he really could help us break through tough times with humor. And it was incredible. And you don't have to be a comedian. Just take a chance, take a risk, you know, try and throw a riddle in there.
You're so right about humor. Humor is it's the natural medicine. Laughter. I mean, laughter cures sadness. It cures emotions. It does. I mean, you're right. Humor is a good way to go.
How good does it feel to laugh? And I think all of us deserve to just got a quote from a friend about Charlie Chaplin's famous sayings. And he said, "A day without laughter is a day wasted."
I don't know. I don't even know the last time I went a day without laughing. Can you recall a day?
Yeah. The release of the family kit, there wasn't a lot of laughter. We got to get this out there.
We got to get it out the door. We got to help these families. Well, it's a great one. So so bring some humor into your household. Try to bring some sort of joke, humor, sense of happiness, laughter.
Yeah. And even before, like, one more thing I want to say to the person who asked this question is, if you find yourself in that moment, things are really heated and challenged, if you could just take a moment to just observe, oh, look, I see that I'm feeling really frustrated right now. Oh, child, kid, son, daughter, I see that you're really frustrated. So why don't we just take 5 and we'll come back and revisit this? Just acknowledging, simply, sometimes we don't even acknowledge that we're frustrated, and that just leads to more frustration. So humor and acknowledgement.
Yeah. My 10-year-old is concerned about climate change and wants to help. How can we work on this together? Now, this is a big question. It's a big one. So what can we do to help this 10-year-old?
10-year-old is concerned about climate change and wants to help. How can we work on this together? I think that being a 10-year-old and being curious about the world and recognizing that there are challenges that, we as a collective face, I would invite this parent to find out what it is about climate change that has the 10-year-old specifically concerned, what aspects of it, and what ways this 10-year-old, what ideas they might be generating to solve that problem. And the second part of the question, how can we work together, is actually the solution. So work with your 10-year-old to find out how you can support the 10-year-old in addressing their concerns around climate change, and whether this 10-year-old wants to go into activism or create awareness at his or her school. Talking to your child. And parent, I give you full permission to not know the answers. Parent, if you yourself feel inadequate around understanding climate change, don't let that hold you back from engaging in the dialogue with your 10-year-old. Allow your 10-year-old to teach you, if that is the case.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, with climate change, you see it every day, and you can do things every day to help climate change. Mm-hmm. So this child's probably seeing something on TV or in the news, or even just walking around the street. So, and we have protests in the streets and stuff as well. So you see it, and it's front, right, and center. So how can we address this? Should we dissect and talk to the child a little bit about what exactly about climate change is frustrating you? How does this make you feel? Yeah.
So get to the who, what, when, where, why. Yeah. Who, what, when, where, why. That'll give you a really great way to frame the questions. With this 10-year-old, I'm thinking last year, September, there were a lot of protests and rallies happening here locally and with Greta around the world. So it was a lot of that was in the news, and a lot of students were talking about it and taking action. And since social distancing or physical distancing measures have taken place, I feel like all of that has gotten very quiet. As COVID takes front and center stage. So this 10-year-old is concerned. Parent, talk to them, find out the who, what, when, where, why, what the concerns are, and be generous in your own understanding or lack of understanding about the issue, so that your child gets to be an expert in sharing with you.
I love that tip of yours, always to get your child to share and teach you. I love that. So leading into this question now, how do we help our children in general be okay with what's going on in the world? Obviously, we're all facing new situations every day. My generation, maybe your generation as well. We haven't faced this sort of situation ever in our life. Provincial health orders, all these sort of things. So how can we help our children be okay with this?
Yeah. First of all, I would just want to say I caught that my generation, your generation, Jena, very clear.
You know what I mean?
Generational perspectives here, and maybe it was my my giveaway about that I didn't have cell phones when I was growing up in an earlier episode. It's very clear we're from different generations. Nevertheless, Marlon, what is happening right now, I think that only those that are 100 years plus probably have experienced in like the 1920s or in different regions of the world where they've gone through some sort of epidemic. But to bring this question back to an accessible place, I'm going to say let's for a moment focus on local. And local, what I mean is immediate. And I'm going to use an example like, okay, your child falls down, they scrape their knee. How do you help your child be okay with a scraped knee? You get a Band-Aid. You acknowledge, child, you fell down, you hurt your knee. We're going to put a Band-Aid on there. It's going to take a couple of days. It'll get cleaned up. So you walk them through, you learn how to support your child through bumps and bruises. And it's almost taking that sort of more immediate approach to help your children be okay with what's happening immediately around them. And then how that affects on every other level. So to make this less daunting, I use that as an analogy. How do you help children be okay with the world? You know, I think it's fair to say we won't really know how okay or not okay they are for years later. Like the impact of all of this may surface years and years later. So what can we do to support them right now in the challenges of the pandemic reality is talk about it, find out, let them communicate, find out what they're concerned about, share with them what you're concerned about. And just address and acknowledge, validate that when a child says something and it may not fit your own beliefs, it may not fit how you view the situation, just simply validate. And this, let's demonstrate this for them, Marlon. Marlon, how do you feel about what's going on in the world right now, specifically with COVID?
In the world, I think I can look at it from my perspective, my bubble, and I'm frustrated. Is a big sense of feeling I'm feeling, and frustrated is a big one. I've been feeling a lot of frustration recently, not with the fact that we have to do all these orders, like stay and seclude ourselves. That's not what I'm frustrated with the fact that we're even in this position to begin with, and it's getting worse. But as we move on, I'm noticing that I'm adapting and I'm learning that this is the new normal. So, I mean, I've learned to kind of deal with it in a way.
Okay. So, Marlon, what I hear is you feel frustrated. You understand what's going on. You understand the realities of COVID. You're learning how to adapt, and you are embracing the new normal of it all, right? So
there's no sense being frustrated about it. I mean, that's kind of what I've realized is you just kind of have to accept what's going on and just stick to the rules and
What I want to highlight for the viewers is a very interesting thing that just happened here is Marlon began by saying he was frustrated, and I listened to him share all the different layers of what that was and how he's adapted and he's coping. And in my response and validating his experience, he let go of frustrated. Did you, you may have to watch this, go back and rewatch this, but you actually let it go. And I think that happens when we just acknowledge the power something has over us and somebody else hears it, then you don't need to hold on to it and you can let it go. And so that is the power of validating somebody else's experiences. Now, from my own perspective, Marlon, when I think about COVID, and there's, for me, a very different experience. I feel responsible for supporting children and figuring out ways to support children. And so I'm I have my own frustrations that come into play, because how do we get these resources to them? Is it through school? Is it through families? How do we support these children so that they can find creativity and humor? And that of all of it, it's the not knowing when this is going to end that creates the biggest stress for most people, is we just simply don't know when this is going to stop. And just like loud music, if a neighbor is playing loud music, that could be really stressful for people because they don't know when it's going to stop.
No control.
No control. So, and most of us feel a lack of control around what's happening. So how do you help your children be okay with what's going on in the world? Listen to them, validate their experience at all. If at all possible, please do not negate their emotions. Do not dispute how they're feeling. Just accept it, and they can transition through it. Emotions are
even if you don't agree with it, just accept it.
Totally. Great. Thank you for working that through with me, Marlon. Really well done.
Yeah. So this next one is something that we've probably both experienced. Homework. It's been a constant battle with my 13-year-old to get him to do it, and we often argue about it. He opened up to me the other day, and he gets frustrated because he doesn't understand. Frustration is a key here, or theme.
Homework is a constant battle with 13-year-olds. With children, we argue about it. Parent feels responsible. I got to get my kid to do their homework. Kid's like, why do I have to do this homework? Homework sucks. Homework feels like punishment. And then to top it all off, if they don't understand what they have to do, sorry, let me get a sip of my tea. If they don't understand the homework, then that just leads to more frustration. So,
yeah.
Marlon, let's put this into real terms. How did you deal with homework as a kid? How did you deal with homework?
I didn't do it. I would make myself not have homework. I would complete it in school or at class because my home, I didn't want to do my schoolwork at home.
Okay.
So I always completed it at school or before school or something like that.
Wow.
I wasn't, even to this day, I don't like bringing outside into home. Home is where you relax, where you unwind for the day.
I think it was very well
myself.
Beautiful, Marlon. It was very well defined for you, even as a youngster, that home was something different than school. And you went through all kinds of lengths to make sure that you got your homework done outside of home. So that you have the freedom or whatever it is that you looked forward to when you got home. Now, there's a different reality going on in that for many people's kids, parents, families, like home has become school.
Home is school. Home is work. Home is everything.
It's all merged into one thing. And the thing about homework is it can be a trigger. It can be like a loaded battle. It can be an ongoing battle. And the truth is, let's just get real. Let's just get honest about homework. Yeah. It is a part of school for many children. There are some more progressive schools, and well, maybe I should retract that progressive. I'm letting my own. There's been some studies and some research and evidence to suggest that homework doesn't make that much of a difference in the long-term academic success for a child. Now, I say this with caution because I don't want people who assign homework to feel bad. Like, do what you do. Do what you do. Yeah. And for this parent and this 13-year-old, just address homework is challenging. Give that child some ownership, like that loud music. Imagine homework is that loud music. When is it going to end? Create some timelines, some time frames. Help them find solutions to make homework more bearable or enjoyable. Go
ahead.
When I was a kid, I was similar to you, Marlon. I wanted homework to be done as soon as possible so that I could have that free time. And I didn't have homework lingering over my head. So for me, on a Friday, for the weekends especially, like as soon as I got home, I'd get that homework done and out of the way. I didn't want to think about it on Saturday or Sunday. Like I wanted to be so rid of it. that by Monday, just put it in the bag and off you go. My brother, on the other hand, was the last minute homework doer. Like he just, and I try and tell him, like, Daniel, just do it on Friday. You don't have to worry about it for the rest of the weekend. And you don't hear the parents nag, like, is your homework done? Is your homework done? I valued free time too much personally. And just as I noticed in your response, like some kids, they need some support in figuring out how to proactively get that homework handled and out of the way. Does that help?
Yeah. And I think homework is, it's also, again, frustrating because you don't have the support of your teacher either when you're at home. Maybe now with classes of virtually and you're able to communicate virtually with your teacher, that's perfect.
Yeah.
But before, back in the day when I was working the weekends or like doing schoolwork on the weekends, if I didn't know the answer to a question, I had to leave it blank or get it wrong. And that was a frustrating process to not have the communication and the ability to bounce the ideas and everything off of either my classmates or the teacher.
Yeah.
So.
I've thought of so many different scenarios as you were talking there, Marlon, like, the kindergartner that has to do reading at home and reading is homework. I would hope that reading is an enjoyable experience for the child, that you find a cozy corner in your home and it doesn't, like from kindergarten, you can really set the stage for the attitude you bring to homework. I think for some parents, they have their own memories of what homework was like, and they might feel caught between, I have to be like how my parents were, like, get that homework done. Or, they may have their own, like, I hated homework too, but I got to pretend like, I got to do your homework. So just be real, people. And homework is going to be different at different age levels, grade levels for students. Reach out for support and let your child know it's okay to ask for help, because I think more often than not, Marlon, children don't even ask for the help. It's harder to ask for help than, the technology of getting help. So
let me ask you this. Were you in school, were you a child to raise your hand and ask a question in class? Or were you more shy and afraid of other people's judgment?
In kindergarten, or maybe grade 1, I had the same teacher for kindergarten. In grade 1, loved her so much, Mrs. Yusui. She was teaching us addition, and beautifully on the chalkboard, she had written 2 columns of addition. 1 plus 2, 2 plus 3, all this stuff. And she talked to us about these numbers in math, and I went straight to my desk and I wrote them all out, and I did my best to replicate how she had put these, like, so beautifully printed on the chalkboard. And I was the first one done. I ran over to her desk and I'm like, Mrs. Cecilia, I'm done. And she's like, no, you're not. I'm like, yes, I am. He's like, you haven't answered these questions. And I remember thinking, what do you mean answer these questions? Like, I just copied what was on the board. And that was like, what do you, like, I honestly didn't get that there was anything more I had to do. So when it comes to asking for help, reluctantly, I'd rather figure it out on my own. That's how I was as a kid. And I think even as an adult, even as an entrepreneur, that's one of the biggest challenges, is asking for help, being able to identify, this is a weakness, people. I don't know how to fill this gap. Support me. Learning how to, as like 5 years in, I'm far better at asking for help. But, get your kids okay with asking for help.
Yeah, even adults, it's okay to ask for help.
Totally. Marlon, do you need any help with anything?
Literally, like help is, and you know what, even for me nowadays, it's like you said, as an entrepreneur, it's difficult sometimes to ask for help, because you want to feel like you can do it on your own.
Oh yeah.
But sometimes you can't. Sometimes you just don't have the skill set or the knowledge or the experience.
Yeah. Just, as I said 5 years ago, I just want to make a difference. And, optimistically, I thought everything would just slide into place, but it's not that easy.
So our next question here, how can you identify a problem within your family?
All right. I see we're at 12:32. And last time we got bumped off real fast. So I'm going to answer this real simple. First, understand what is a problem. Like, in order to identify a problem, what is a problem? It's very normal for families to have problems. So normal. Within your family, light bulb goes out. That's a problem. You need light. I think as parent, caregiver, you will have an instinct that there might be a problem. And sometimes engaging your son, daughter, child in dialogues around problem solving can be challenging, especially if they're older teenagers. Family kit.
Family kit. Yeah, we'll go over the family kit before the end of today's session.
Okay, so how do you identify a problem within your family is just to understand what is a problem.
Yeah.
What is the opposite of a problem? Is, a solution or not a problem. So it's a broad question. So I don't really have like a precise answer other than just develop mutual understanding around
communicate.
Yeah, there we go. Next.
So what activities promote problem solving?
Thinking. This is a great segue to the family kit. We've actually got a whole section on problem solving with your family, fun and creative ways to do that. Marlon,
should we show the family care kit?
Yeah, let's go into the family care kit.
Okay, everyone. So this is the family care kit, as you can see.
We're on page
32.
Okay.
Say page 32 of the family care kit. You can see theme number 5 for problem solving. Today's topic. Now on page 33, we have some riddles.
Yay!
And activities.
Okay.
I can tell you straight off the bat, Jena, that I only knew 2 of these.
Okay.
All of them. And then on page 34, we have some more activities.
So this is how do we resolve a family conflict? So identifying the conflict, identify the problem, understand the underlying causes. How does conflict influence the family? So engaging your kids and adapting the language. If you got younger children, you may want to say a problem. How do we know when there's a problem? How do we understand the things that lead up to a problem? Use the language that fits best for your child's development. Let's move on to the next page. So there's a framework.
Mm-hmm.
Planning a virtual holiday.
What fun.
Yes. So go on to page 34. So you do need to go to conversation.org for families to download this kit. We'd love to hear how this kit is working for families. We want so much to know. Is this making a difference? What fun stuff has emerged as a result of doing these activities? Yeah, there it is. Conversation.org for families. Send us your feedback. Find us on Facebook. Send us your questions if you have questions. We love getting into breaking down how to approach these different conflicts, challenges, things that may come up for families through these live sessions. Great job hosting, Marlon. Is there anything else?
This was amazing. No, I think this was a great one for everyone in all the audience, and great questions. Thank you, everyone. Feel free next time. I mean, you can always ask questions live. We are answering questions live, so feel free to ask those next time, and we'll see you next Saturday, Jena.
All right, Marlon, well done. So thank you very, very much, everybody, for those great questions. Get your family care kit. And just know that if you're human, you're going to have problems. You're going to have challenges. It's just a part of life. And bring conversation into your home. There we go.
Perfect. Amazing, Jena. Thank you so much today. Thank you, Conversation Learning Foundation. Everyone, check out the website, download the family care kit. Do some activities with your children. Have a great Saturday.
Yes.
Enjoy. Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Bye-bye.